Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Tiberius Dawnbringer once again, and finally getting to make another video out in nature again. Always enjoy that. It's slightly humid today, but it rained yesterday, so it's understandable. Excuse me. But today I would like to talk briefly about synchronicities and manifestations. Now, synchronicities, in case you haven't heard of those things, synchronicities are, it's probably going to sound vague the way I describe it, but they're things that happen or occur that just seem too coincidental with, things going on with your life. That was very vague, so let me try to give you an example. So let's say you're in between jobs and you're not sure where to go with your future employment career. And so one day you're just walking around, say like a shopping center or something, and you come across like an outdoor cafe, and there's people seated out there and they're having their lunch or whatever. And right when you walk past this one couple at a table, you hear one of them talking about this particular kind of job that seems to be very interesting to you. It just sounds like it resonates within you. Like, I don't know why, but I feel like that person, that conversation wasn't just them, it was somehow for me. Like, it was a message for me from some external source. And then, you do the research and find out that it's a job you're going to like and that they're hiring, and, you go for it and you end up getting it. That's one idea, or one example of synchronicities. Another would be like the same kind of situation, but it's like, say you're driving down the road or the highway and you happen to see a billboard that's like promoting this company or something that seems to resonate with you, and you're like, I didn't know about that, let me check that out, and it ends up being like something that works out for you. Other examples of synchronicities, ones that a lot of people within this community tend to talk about or reference, is like numbers, numerical synchronicities. When you are just doing something and you're not even thinking about what time it is or anything like that, but you're just drawn to look at the time on the clock. And it happens to be something like 11:11, 2 11s, 4 1s, however you want to look at it. But that's a really big one that gets mentioned a lot, so I decided to mention it first. But other times you'll see like 222, 333, stuff like that, 555. I also notice like numerical sequences like 456 or 432, things like that. And it's those kind of synchronicities are things I see all the time, every day. Like, it just happens, and it doesn't bother me. I think it's awesome. It usually when people first start going through their awakenings, they start seeing and noticing those kinds of patterns start to appear in their life. And again, when people start awakening to whatever it is, some aspect of their spiritual self, usually one of the first things that they hear about or come across are synchronicities. Another is manifestations. I'll get to manifestations in a second. Hey, look at that. I just looked at the timer on my video and it was 4 minutes and 44 seconds. That's pretty crazy. So there you go. That's another example of synchronicities. That tells me this is probably going to be a good video. I hope a lot of people like it. Yes. So, let me finish up on synchronicities real quick. So, excuse me. Where did I leave off? Oh, so when people first start going through their spiritual awakening, synchronicities are usually the first things they start to notice happening in their lives. A new pattern exists, and it has to do with that. And sorry if I keep wiping sweat away. Like I said, it's a little humid, so I'm a little sweaty. Moving on, though. So, another thing you can use those kinds of synchronicities for is to help gauge how far along you're going or coming along on your spiritual journey. Or you can kind of use it to gauge how well you're actually listening to your intuition and paying attention to the signs and the messages. And what I mean about that is if you're starting to see numerical synchronicities or experiencing synchronicities of any kind, and you start listening to the messages, then they'll start to happen more and more frequently. However, if you start noticing synchronicities happening to you, and then whether you're reading resistant or maybe you just didn't quite understand the message when it meant you should probably listen to or follow this, you thought it meant that, so you start going the opposite direction. And you may notice that you start experiencing those kind of patterns less and less. That could be a way for you to gauge if you're going in the right direction or not, or if you're listening to the messages correctly. If you start experiencing synchronicities quite frequently, like every day throughout the day, kind of like where I'm at now with my life, that's a really good sign. That's pretty much telling you that you are on the path. It's a part I left out accidentally. So synchronicities are it could be any number of things. It could be your higher self, it could be spirit, it could be ascended masters, spirit guides, animal guides even. Some people I used to refer to as the universe. I still do sometimes. Source. Any way you identify it, any way you label it, whatever works for you. But I'll just say spirit as a overall encompassing terminology. So spirit is helping you to figure out these things. If you have questions you want answered, you ask spirit to guide you, to assist you, and spirit will do what it can. But according to the rules of this reality that we live in, spirit can't just come out and directly help you. It would make things too easy. Well, that's one side of the argument. One is that, spirit can't help you directly because that would be, you wouldn't really be doing the work so much yourself. It would be someone else doing it for you. Another argument is that spirit can get to the point where it can help you more and more directly, but you have to do the work within yourself to get to that point on a spiritual level, where you're very capable of working with your intuition. Some people get to where they start developing their psychic gifts. Eventually, there's people I know who have gotten to the point where they can sit in meditation for just like a few minutes and communicate with spirit, and it's almost like instantaneous for others. From my knowledge, it's extremely rare for someone to see like an actual physical manifestation of a spirit or a guide, but those are the ones that are like way up there on their spiritual training. But anyways, yeah, the rules of this reality that we all chose to be in is that you have to forget everything when you come into physical incarnation. And the reason why you have to forget everything is because if you come here already knowing everything, then there's nothing for you to learn. You already know everything. There's no challenge. There's no, I don't want to say conflict, but there's nothing for you to learn. You already know the answers. So we have to forget in order to learn. And we have to be able to do it I don't want to say like completely on our own, but the rules are you can't have too much in the way of direct interference. So yeah, that's why there's all these other methods, there's all these other things out there that are set up to help us, to help guide us in the right direction, to help give us clues, to help answer questions, so forth and so on. And that's usually what synchronicities are. They're connected with spirits and guides trying to communicate with you in the parameters of the rules that were set up before we came here. So there's the end to that explanation. Manifestations, and when I say that, I don't mean like ghostly manifestations or anything like that. I mean in manifesting things into your life. Every single human being has the power to manifest whatever they want, whenever they want, or whatever they need when they need it. But again, we have forgotten this, and we have lived our whole lives in this old archaic paradigm where those who are in control, or those who were in control, knew these secrets about humanity and knew how to manipulate it to where we would essentially defeat ourselves. We've lived many thousands of years believing that we are weak, limited, frail human beings that can get hurt and die very easily, and that we have no power. And we believed that. And the crazy part is that we are powerful creators. We are powerful manifestors. We can create whatever reality we want. But if we are encouraged to believe that we are these weak, frail, limited beings, our creative power is so potent that we believe that, and we actually become that. And we are co-creators, meaning, as a collective, when one of us tries to manifest something, we have that amount of power. When two of us are in the same room trying to manifest something, the power is increased. When you have whole nations and a whole globe believing that we are these limited creatures that have no power, then together we're working together to create that kind of reality where we are those creatures that are powerless. But the amazing thing about what's going on in this lifetime right now, and has been for probably a few decades at least, if not more, is that more and more of humanity is actually waking up. And that's why they usually refer to it as a spiritual awakening, because you're waking up to the truth. You're waking up to the light, and you start seeing the world for what it really is. And a lot of that is ugly, disturbing material that I won't get into in this video. But you eventually, you'll either make a choice. You'll either find out all this ugliness and just be so disturbed by it that you make the conscious decision to just ignore it and go back to your life. You know that this is all a thing, but you just choose to ignore it. You bury your head into the sand like a cowardly ostrich. Or you make the conscious decision to pursue further truth, to find out who and what you really are and what your true purpose in this reality is, this lifetime, this incarnation. And every day I hear more and more stories about more and more people waking up, and they're starting to experience and notice these patterns in their life, in their reality, all of that. And as I've said before, that's why I started doing this channel, because I know that I am not the only one around here that thinks these things. I'm not the only one who questions, what's going on. I'm not the only one who's seeking answers. And I'm definitely not the only one who wants to do something about this, who wants to change this effed up place that we're living in. This can be so much better, and it's going to become so much better. But we have to realize that there's a problem and that we can actually do something about it. And then we start realizing how powerful we ourselves are, individually and collectively. And we start becoming empowered by that. We start standing in our own power, and we'll start making the choice to live our own lives and not have others try to dictate how we're supposed to live our lives. A good example of that would be masks. You know what I'm talking about. How ridiculous is that, right? I don't want to go off too much on a tangent, but probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I went out to the park for the first time because, winter was ending and it was warm enough to actually go out, and I wanted to walk this trail. And when I got to the park, there was about 30 people throughout the park, and they were all wearing masks. And most of them were nowhere near each other, but they were wearing masks. It blew my mind, because you're out in fucking nature, I'm pretty sure the CVID isn't going to come anywhere near you out in nature. I mean, there are going to be people that argue that, but whatever, right? What do they actually know? They are coming from a place of fear, and people like us, we are not. We are not going to come from a place of fear. We're done with that. Our souls have been incarnating here for hundreds and thousands of years and lifetimes, and we've been doing nothing but living in fear and survival. I think we're all pretty much tired of that. We're done with that. We want to come from a place of self-empowerment and joy and happiness and unconditional love. We don't want to deal with that other garbage anymore. So, enough of that tangent. Let me move on. So, manifestations. Okay. Manifestations. So, I'll go back to that, looking for a job thing again as an example. So, you're in between jobs, and you're like, I need to make a job, appear in my life so I can start making income, so I can, survive. I can pay rent and bills and buy groceries and this, that, and the other. Things that we have to do in order to keep playing the game, I suppose you could put it. So, you pretty much just you could look up to the sky, ask the universe, talk to source or spirit, and be like, my intention is to manifest a job or a career that I will love, that pays well, and just works for me. It resonates with me. So, if you end up working there for years, you enjoy it. You don't have to deal with drama or working someplace that you hate merely because the pay is good. I've been there a couple times in my life, and no, eventually people get tired of that. Most humans are getting tired of that. They're realizing that life is not supposed to be about just working every day until you retire and then die. So that's one example, but you yourself have the power to manifest and create anything you want in your life, and the more powerful you become, the more easily it gets, the bigger you can manifest. I know a lot of people, their initial thought is, I want to manifest, winning the lottery so I don't have to worry about financial burdens anymore. if we didn't have financial burdens, we could focus so much more of our time and energy on so many other things that we could be doing, not just for ourselves, but for the whole collective, for all of humanity. We could be helping everyone out in massive ways. And I myself am kind of guilty of that. I've attempted to manifest that on multiple occasions and almost came very close one time. But I've come to realize now that that's not the point. I'm meant to create my own financial abundance through means such as this. Like, I'm going to start doing what I'm passionate about, and when you do something you're passionate about that you love, it becomes really easy. It's not a job. It doesn't become boring or tedious. You just really get into it, and you enjoy putting more of your focus and energy into it, and it just starts becoming this big thing. Like right now I'm in the process of manifesting something big, something bigger than what I'm even doing right now. And it's something I started working on manifesting probably about a month or two ago. And ever since then, I've been taking all these steps, and the steps keep getting bigger and bigger. And yeah, I love where it's going right now. I could see myself in a few months, being so much further along in my work than what I was, like, compared to like last year to this year and such. So manifestations, if people start researching that, you might start coming across things like the law of one or the law of attraction, and it's, I'm not saying that that's incorrect at all. In fact, it's very accurate. It's just, again, most people, their initial attempt at manifestation is always money, and people got to understand that as much as that's a part of our lives right now, you got to think beyond that. You got to think of beyond financial gain for that on its purpose itself. Sorry, that probably came out all confusing. There's other things to manifest in your life. You can manifest, say you've experienced a lot of not so great relationships throughout your lifetime, and you're sick of that. You're done with it. Those things happen because you need to learn a lesson or learn something about yourself. But you get to the point where you're just done with it, and maybe you have learned your lesson about it and you're ready to move on. It's like, I am ready to manifest a relationship with someone who is better suited for me on a spiritual level. You could even make this list up if you want. I would encourage that. I want to manifest someone who will love me for me, who's into the same things that I am, who loves nature and animals and is as spiritually inclined as I am, so forth and so on. Those are just a few examples, and then there you go. You just put the intention out there to manifest whatever it is and give it time. I've had things that took months, even like a year or two before it finally manifested. I've had things that within 24 hours they showed up, and I have plenty of examples of that. And I will probably, my next video I will go over my various experiences with synchronicities and manifestations, but it made sense to kind of make a video like this first to give you an idea of what I'm going to be talking about, so when we do the other video you already have an idea of what's going on. Alright, so yeah, we're still under 30 minutes. I'm getting much better at this. I appreciate myself for actually doing the work to try to be more efficient with my videos. And let me put this down real quick. So if you are still here paying attention and watching this video, I just want you to know that I appreciate you for doing that, for taking the time to exchange energies with me. And I like to express my gratitude for all of you. and just for being allowed to have this experience in this time in this life. It's crazy, it's chaotic, and it's wonderful at the same time. And I hope that those of you who are watching are going through your own spiritual awakening, and that you're going to become as excited about this journey as I am. And I hope to maybe one day see you all, at least on a collective level. Anyways, that's it for today. Thank you.